It's Friday, August 11th, 2023, and this is the Talk Film Society podcast. I am your host, Marcelo Pico, editor-in-chief of Talk Film Society, here with you once again, hosting the Talk Film Society podcast with my co-host for this show, Siobhan Irving. Hello, Siobhan.
Hello, Marcelo. Another podcast.
Another podcast. Another one.
Another one.
Blockbusters is the general topic, the umbrella of what this series is. There's one movie coming out that has a bloodsucker in it. That's right, Dracula himself. We're talking Dracula this episode.
We love Dracula around here.
We love that. We love Mr. Dracula.
My favorite thing about Dracula is that time that he spent on a boat. Honestly,
I think we can all say that. I think we can all say we loved it when Dracula was on a boat.
It was named after like a god or something, right?
Named after. Hold on, I'm off mic. Named after a god? What are you talking about?
A goddess, I believe. Demeter. Yeah, Demeter, right. She was the daughter of the deities Cronus and Rhea.
Are you just reading that?
Sister of Zeus.
Okay, I didn't know that, actually.
She's the goddess of agriculture. We all know that.
Hey, I learn something new every day. That's right, The Last Voyage of the Demeter. That's the movie of the week. That's what everybody should be hyped for. It's opening this weekend, and we're here to talk about it. One of us saw it. I'm not going to say who, but we also saw at least another movie about vampires that we'll also talk about. But we'll get to that in a bit. So, yeah, just stay tuned. We'll talk about The Last Voyage of Demeter and vampire movies here in a bit. Okay. Blockbusters, again, I mean, I've said it before. We're in the midst of a strike, but we're still, and we're pro-union, but Siobhan, how are you feeling about the summer blockbusters of 2023?
Well, we talk about this every week, and I just gotta say, they're looking fine, baby. Every week I'm checking the what's out there in the theaters, what's in the dailies, and I just get so excited. The box office returns, what's going to the studios and not the actors or writers. I just love that stuff, and it's looking all so good right now. And it just makes me so happy every time I see a movie ever. Period. And I love that stuff. Now, have I been to any movies this summer? Oh, Marcelo. Oh, come on.
That's a no?
Well, not exactly, no, but do I love it just as much? Of course, I love it.
What has been the best movie theater experience of your life?
Shut up.
What?
Okay. I could say something extremely nerdy, but I'm going to go with an actual movie. Seeing Gravity. Oh. And feel like that's a movie that like I totally felt like I had like a totally sensory experience with, where like I really was like feeling every single bit of that movie's emotion and action and stuff, like with my whole body. And I was so moved by that theatrical experience. And so much so that I refuse to watch the movie ever again. Like I don't want to taint that memory.
You've only seen it once.
Yeah, and it was in 2013 or whatever when that came out.
And I asked this because I knew the answer. I just saw that it was released in August of 2013. We're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of Gravity.
Haven't seen it for 10 years out in the theatrical house, and but yeah, me and my mother both had the same experience. We both loved it, and yeah, I would call that maybe like the ideal theatrical experience where like you get just totally swept away by it. There's other ones I like for other reasons as well, but in terms of feeling connected to the movie, of feeling like a total disconnect between like yourself you know, like, or like your brain shuts off and you're just a part of the movie, you know? Like, have you ever felt that?
I know what you're talking about. But like, I can't think of the last one I felt that way. I can't remember the last one that affected me that much, I should say. Maybe the ending of Oppenheimer. I kind of felt that way.
Really? Yeah, and similar things, right?
What, between Gravity and Oppenheimer?
You know,
I don't know what to... Boy.
Or not. I don't know. Marcel, so you don't think you've ever had like a total, like, kind of out of body experience where you just feel like you are a part of the film?
See, the way you're describing it, to me, makes it seem like
I don't literally think I'm up there on screen with Sandra Bullock. Like, I just am like not? Totally swept away by it. Nothing else in my life matters. Like, nothing else is in my head. I'm just watching Sandra Bullock dream of George Clooney or whatever, have the dead man guide her by the hand to the jetpack or whatever that she had to do to drive home. And it's been 10 years since I've seen the movie, but do you know what I'm talking about? You have to.
I kind of do, but I'm having a hard time sort of just saying yes. I've had the exact experience. I haven't had the exact experience that you've had. It feels like it seems like you were really immersed in Gravity, the movie.
Immersion, total immersion. That's probably the better way to put it.
But I mean, I've had experiences. Maybe I just watch movies differently. I watch a movie and I just think I know all throughout the runtime that this is a movie that I'm appreciating it. I get lost in the story. I get lost in that aspect of it, but I still, keep my senses. I don't think I'm going to lift off and float towards the screen.
Don't be condescending.
I'm not condescending.
Okay.
I'm not condescending.
What's your best theater experience then? What was it? It was seeing Deadstream on the fucking South by Southwest. Is that it?
How dare you? Now
when
you're making fun of me.
the girl picked the guy's nose and everybody went, ew.
Okay, look. In comparison, I would say my favorite experiences are like seeing movies in the theater where I feel the energy of like a crowd getting into a movie, and I absorb that energy, and that makes me excited. Okay, that's how those are my. That's like
that's a Fast and Furious or a John Wick can give you those.
Yeah, like a thrill. Like, for example, this is not number one.
Or a horror film, obviously.
I know my number one, but like my number maybe
a Last Voyage of the Demeter, perhaps.
Maybe we'll get to that in a second. But maybe top 5, top 10 experiences was seeing The Raid 2 at South by Southwest, like at a midnight show. And just the entire crowd, like every like bone crack, every slice, like every like gruesome punch in that movie, the entire theater was like gasping and like going crazy for it. And I was there for the ride, and that movie still holds up. It was an amazing experience watching it in the theater and then watching it at home. Part of it is like me remembering that experience, but then also part of it is the movie's great on its own. So that's how I connect with a movie going experience. I don't think I'm going to like float away.
I didn't think I was going to float away.
I wasn't grabbing my chair, scared that I was going to drift away.
No. It's just that you forget yourself.
Okay, listen.
You're immersed. It is basically that same thing where you're
right.
with a crowd of people who do feel the same way. I feel like I was that day.
Siobhan, you're right. I'm just making fun.
Or like when I was in the theater, like with like it was like opening night of The Conjuring or whatever, and like you're with like 100 other people, 150 other people that are like whenever the ghost or goblin pops out of the bed sheet. And like everybody gets scared. Like that stuff's great. You live for that, don't you?
Yeah, and okay, and then I tend to forget about everything else when I'm watching a movie, and that happens for me. It's harder for me to do that when watching a movie at home, like sort of like separate myself and sort of like drift into that headspace of watching a movie and being enveloped in it. Right? I don't have that at home as much as in a movie theater because that dark space, you can hear people gasping and being excited or being scared. That energy to me, that takes me away. That helps me forget, the real world for however long. So I get it, Siobhan. Okay. All right. So blockbusters. That's the series we're doing. Right? We're talking vampires.
Yeah, we're talking vampires.
Hold on. Before we get to that. Let's just talk about some news, okay?
News.
Siobhan, open up the news bag. What's going on in the news?
Here's our first piece of news.
What? Unwrap it. What does it say?
Cheryl Hines.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there.
Is posing in a picture with Woody Harrelson wearing a Kennedy 2024 hat.
I saw that before I logged in to this recording. So Woody Harrelson, pro RFK Jr. Cheryl Hines is married to RFK Jr. How does that make you feel, Siobhan?
Woody Harrelson seems like a psychopath. Cheryl Hines seems like a psychopath. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. probably a stand-up guy. Yeah. So I support them all.
Great. All right, I have my bit of news here. Barbie, the biggest movie of the summer, just crossed $1 billion.
Woo! That's a lot of shoes she can buy with that.
Okay. Siobhan, early box office game here. Take a guess. How many movies have crossed $1 billion at the box office? Take a guess.
Ooh, baby. It's gotten bigger in recent years. It's gotten more. That's the it thing to do, is to get $1 billion. So there's been 4 DC movies, I think, that have made $1 billion. So just within DC, there's 4.
Okay.
Of course, Aquaman, Dark Knight Rises, Dark Knight, and Joker. Now let's think of Marvel. Holy fuck. Damn, a good decent one of those. Probably all 3 Spider-Man. Definitely the most recent Spider-Man, I know that. Definitely all 4 Avengers movies, right? So just within Marvel, I would say at least like a dozen. So we're up to 16 just from 2 franchises. Okay.
This is taking longer than I thought. Just give me a number.
No, it's not. It's not. We've hit the big franchises. So from there, I have to say, how many outliers are there? There's like a Harry Potter movie that hit it. There's like a Transformers that might have. I know there's at least one Fast and Furious that did. So we're going to head up to 29, I think. That's my final answer.
You are low. Guess again.
45.
You are low. Guess one more time.
What? Jesus. 59.
Ooh, too high. You were so close. 53.
53. Huh.
53. Barbie is the 53rd movie to hit $1 billion.
The first directed by a female.
Yes. Or, solely directed by a female, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
There might be one that was co-directed by a female, I think.
Captain Marvel or something. I don't know.
If that one made $1 billion, I'm not even sure.
I doubt it.
No. But, solely a female director who made $1 billion movie. And, hey, did you see this where Margot Robbie, in her press circuit, somebody asked her about, do you think Barbie is going to hit $1 billion or something? Or tell me about how you pitched it to Warner Brothers. She pitched it. Think of big name director plus IP property. Now think of Greta Gerwig plus Barbie. That'll give you $1 billion movie. That's what she
Margot
said.
Robbie pitched this movie?
She's a producer on it, on Barbie. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah. Many
returns.
Yeah, I'm sure she made a chunk of money. Do you think they gave her a check for like, $10 million? Like, here you go.
Probably, on one of those big checks.
Well, on the big checks. Yeah. Do you think they keep those big checks in the Warner Brothers water tower? That's the news. Also, rest in peace, William Friedkin. Great director. One of the greatest. And also Robbie Robertson from the band and music supervisor for a lot of Scorsese movies. Two greats lost.
Just really quick, first favorite Friedkin from you.
That's tough. I love a lot of them.
For me, I'll go for it. I'm going to say Cruising. I saw it very recently, and I was so taken by it. It's such a cool fucking movie. It's rad.
The obvious might be like The French Connection or The Exorcist, like two classics back to back. He won Best Picture for The French Connection in '71, and then he just turned right around and made The Exorcist in '73. It's a hell of a 1-2 punch. But I want to shout out. That? I know. He's fucking insane. He was fucking insane. The Sorcerer is great. If you haven't seen it, it's amazing.
I need to see that. Yeah.
And also To Live and Die in L.A. Great movie.
Yeah.
I think To Live and Die in L.A.'s car chase scene might be better than the chase scene in French Connection. Take that to the bank.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot more I need to see. Also, shout out to Killer Joe. Incredible movie.
Yeah, Killer Joe's wild. Yeah. I really like that movie.
Yeah. And he's got another movie in the pipeline that'll come out later this year.
Damn, really? Okay, yeah, didn't know that.
The Kane Mutiny Court Martial. It's going to hit a film festival soon, and I'm not sure where it'll be released or when it'll be released. But yeah, he made one more movie before he passed away. So William Friedkin, rest in peace. And also Robbie Robertson. I've been buying a lot of vinyl records recently, unfortunately. I had to get into another hobby. But I picked up the King of Comedy vinyl, and he was a music producer on that, Robbie Robertson. It's great. And he's done a lot more Scorsese projects. And he also did Killers of the Flower Moon. He's a composer on that, Robbie Robertson. He did that before he passed away. One of the best, I think. And also go watch The Last Waltz if you haven't seen that. The Scorsese rock concert documentary with Robbie Robertson in it. So have you seen The Last Waltz?
Nope.
See that. That's it. That's all. That's your homework. See that eventually. And that's it. Eventually. All right. That's the news. We're going to glide into the vampire thing here in a bit as we open up. But first, what have we been watching?
I'll just start. Okay.
Do it.
So a couple weeks ago, me and my mother, we watched through the Insidious films 1 through 4. Had a really good time. I'm a fan of the franchise. I think the first 3 are rock solid, good ghost movies. I think the 4th one is fine. And the 5th one, right back to that rock solid, good ass ghost movie. Patrick Wilson did a fantastic job directing. There is a very nice original song, over the end credits, sung by Patrick Wilson. That was just an absolute delight to hear. Good scares in there. It wraps up. I wouldn't say it wraps up necessarily. It continues that story of that family from the first 2 films in a very satisfying and I think smart way. So Insidious, The Red Door, 2 thumbs up. And then
let me interject here and say, hey, that's a summer blockbuster you saw.
That's summer blockbuster. Yeah, it came home. I didn't get to see it in theater.
But also the biggest hit with the biggest horror movie box office wise of the year is The Red Door.
Certainly will not last long.
Wait, one more question. Please.
Okay.
Without spoilers, tell me, Did you want? Wait, hold on. Let me phrase this in a way where you won't spoil me. If I were looking to get my rose burn fix, would I be disappointed in this movie?
I will say that you may be a little disappointed. Just a little.
Okay. I figured. I mean, the trailers didn't make it seem she was in it that much, so... All right, then.
You won't be totally upset, but you will probably be a bit disappointed.
All right, I'm still going to see it. I'll give it a shot. I don't think it's playing in theaters anymore. I'll probably watch it at home. All right, floor's yours.
Yep, I went from one horror franchise to another, and I decided to catch up on the Conjuring movies. Previously, I saw Conjuring 1 and the first two Annabelles in theaters. And Conjuring 1 was great at the time. I rewatched it earlier this year. Didn't care for it one way or the other. It's still a well-made movie, but I don't know. Didn't hit. But it was a great time in the theater. And then Annabelle 1 thought was total trash. Annabelle 2 was like, this is fine, I guess, whatever. And I just resigned myself. I never wanted to continue the franchise. But I decided to do it recently on a whim because I got a recommendation from somebody that I trust to watch Annabelle 3, and I have a stupid, sick brain that won't let me just skip to Annabelle 3. So I'm catching up on what I missed in between. So I saw Conjuring 2, The Nun, and Curse of La Llorona. Conjuring 2, really good, actually. I mean, James Wan, you're going to get a certain level of quality from him always, I think. And is it his best work? No. But I think I liked it a bit more than I liked the first Conjuring. It kind of goes in a bit more action-y direction, like what he did with Insidious, I'd say, which is cool. I liked it a lot. And The Nun, I thought it was nearly unwatchable. It's just really bad movie, but I was so shocked by Curse of La Llorona. I had a great time watching it. Really just fun ghost movie, I thought. Set in the 1700s or something? Or no, that one's set in modern. The Nun is set in the 1700s.
Oh, okay.
Curse of La Llorona is like modern day, but really good. Really, totally, like really good. And I don't like that that's the one they like to push off as like, or like pretend that this isn't like a Conjuring movie or whatever, because like it's absolutely good, I think. But I've got Annabelle 3 and The Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It still to get to, and I'm sure I'll update you in a future episode on that. And then finally, I watched Puss in Boots: The Last Wish last night, and the movie's cute. All I got to say. Like yeah. I didn't pay too close attention to it. I was just like had it on in the background. I was like, it's good. I liked it.
Well, good. I'm happy. I should watch that, but I haven't seen. Cause that's the sequel. There's how many Puss in Boots movies are there? Do you know?
I think this is just the second one.
There's just two, right? I haven't seen.
And then the Shreks. There's like 4 of those, right?
I'm not a big fan of the Shrek movies. I haven't seen Puss in Boots 1, but I kept hearing this new Puss in Boots is good. I think we talked about it somewhat on the Oscar show last year. Or this past year.
It got a lot of like best animated film talk. People do love this movie a lot, and I see why. Its animation style's good. It's got this nice blend of like the type of 3D animation we've been seeing, but with like flourishes that are kind of unique to it. Like that seem like they're having fun more, being more painterly with it, which is cool.
Are you happy that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse changed the game for animation?
Oh, absolutely. The Pixar style was getting so overplayed. Animation kind of got to a place of stagnation where they were like got to this like vaguely realistic human characters, and then like that's it for a long time. And I didn't like that, and it has largely turned me off of animation. That's one of the reasons anyway. And because of Spider-Verse, like I've seen both of them in theaters, and because I was just like so taken by the animation, it like gets you excited about the medium again.
I agree. I think I will see that Mutant Mayhem movie this weekend since I have free time, and my girlfriend is out of town.
That one's got a very interesting kind of sketchy look to it. I think that's cool.
We talked about it some last week, sight unseen, except for the trailers. But yeah, looks interesting. I'll give it a shot. And I'll report back next episode, I'm sure. Did you finish what you're watching pile?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I went for the blockbusters. That's what I saw.
All right. I watched a few movies this past week, to no one's surprise. I'm going to talk about 2 of them right here, and then we'll talk vampires after that. I saw Barbie again.
What viewing is this?
5.
4? 5. Holy hell.
So I've seen Barbie 5 times now. Now, Siobhan, you've known me for at least a year, right?
Yeah, at least a year. I think it's a little bit more, but yeah, at least.
18 months maybe.
Yeah, something around there. 16.
Do you think I'm insane? Or maybe that's not the PC word to say it. Do you think I'm not well? Do you think I have a problem?
No. You know what? Genuinely, no. I think this is your main hobby, and I love that you dedicate yourself to it so much. Now, why would one need to see Barbie in a theater 5 times? I don't know. I understand the first 2. One, you got a early screening to,
yeah.
and then the other one you with your girlfriend, and then the other one you took your girlfriend to do the Barbenheimer thing. I understand that.
Yeah.
The next 3,
well,
look, I'm not mad at you about it. I do question it a little bit, but I also respect that you have the passion for that. And, how different is it than even though you got to take a little bit of a travel and spend a little money, how different is it than me, staying here and listening to the same songs I've heard thousands of times over and over and over? Because I've been listening to this one album, basically on repeat for most of this year. So how different is that as you can call me crazy for that. It is your thing. And I like that you do that. Or I've spent 1,500 hours in fucking Destiny 2, and I'd say 300 of those hours were good. So yeah,
Well, I'll say this about Barbie. It's what we were talking about, or what I was saying earlier about.
But yes, you are insane.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted you to say that. Okay, send this to my therapist later. I am just saying that, for a movie like Barbie, and also last year, the movie I did this with was Top Gun Maverick. I can say the same thing about that. Then the year before that, well, pandemic. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I saw that a lot of times in theaters. I don't know. I get a charge from the movie's great, 1, and then 2 for Barbie more. Really, for Barbie in particular, seeing it with a crowd, it's great. It is truly funny. It gets some great responses. And this past week, when I saw it for a 5th time, I did see it with my girlfriend and her family because they hadn't seen it yet. And my girlfriend wanted to see it again, and I, of course, wanted to see it again. So we all saw Barbie on a Tuesday, in the middle of Texas nowhere, and with 4 other people in the audience, Tuesday morning show, and we still had a great time. That's the power of Barbie. I might see it again. Who knows? I'm definitely going to see Oppenheimer again.
That's the power of Barbie.
Thank you for that interpolation of Power of Love. I'm going to see Oppenheimer again. That's going to be my 4th time seeing it. Then that'll be it for Oppenheimer, maybe. But yeah, come on. I watch movies repeatedly in theaters. That's my obsession. That's my problem. So that's Barbie. That's time number 5. We'll see how many times it ends up being by the end of its theatrical run. One more thing I want to talk about, and I'll talk about this briefly. It's just interesting to me. I saw Ghostbusters for the however manyth time. I've seen it so many times as a kid and as an adult. But this time, I saw the preview cut of Ghostbusters. Siobhan, do you know anything about this?
The preview cut of Ghostbusters? No, I have no idea.
I wrote a lengthy review of it.
Longer blowjob scene?
Actually, I don't think the blowjob scene is in this cut.
Oh, I wouldn't watch this.
Or maybe I blinked and I missed it. But it's a different version of Ghostbusters. Let me get into it. I wrote a lengthy review of it on my Letterboxd, which apparently nobody saw, because I got 2 likes. So thanks a lot, guys. Wrote like 200 words.
I'm
on
lucky
Ghostbusters.
to get 2 likes. I'm lucky to get 2 likes.
I want at least 3 for the effort I put into this review. That's why I'm saying it on the show now. So I heard people in LA, or maybe it was New York, a big city. I'm in Austin. I don't get all the special screenings, all right? I'm still jealous of people on the coasts, okay? I have special screenings. I'm gonna go see the new Neil Breen movie after this recording, okay?
Hell yeah.
I get special screenings, but I don't get all the special screenings. People in the jerk-off coasts at the draft houses that aren't here. There weren't any screenings of this here. In New York and LA, they were showing this preview cut of Ghostbusters. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What is this? People on Twitter were saying, this preview cut of Ghostbusters is revelatory. It's a different movie now. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So this preview cut of Ghostbusters, the story behind it is when they were remastering Ghostbusters and when they were like pulling things for like the special features on like one of the discs, some dude just found like a Betamax copy of an alternate cut of Ghostbusters that they showed to a preview screening, months before its release, with alternate takes, and it's a little bit longer, and it does feel like a different movie. Certain lines are different. Some beats are different. Some comedic beats. So I had to dig this up. I had to find this because I was jealous of people who saw this alternate cut of Ghostbusters. They play it in theaters for like one night. I think they have additional show times, but I'm not going to get to these screenings in LA or New York. The only way to see it legally, and let me emphasize this, legally, is by buying like the 5-disc 4K box set of the Ghostbusters movies that is now out of print. It's like worth like $500 if you have this collector's edition set. The preview cut is on there. As far as I know, that's the only way to see it legally. So what did I do? I'm not going to tell you how I got this version of Ghostbusters to play at my home. I'm not going to tell you that. What I'm going to tell you is I saw it. It is interesting. It does feel like a different movie. And it makes me appreciate how important the editing process is. Because if they were to release the movie as it was in the preview cut with these alternate takes, with like the comedic beat, they use like different takes, and like I said, the comedic beats are different. It still feels like an 80s movie, but it feels like a very generic 80s movie. I think Ghostbusters is great. I think the theatrical cut, the original cut of Ghostbusters, is smart, funny because of the editing. It turns out, because if they use like the lame takes they use in this alternate cut, just a standard subpar 80s comedy. Anyway, it's interesting. I like these alternate cuts of movies.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool from a historical perspective.
Yeah.
Right?
So from a historical perspective, and if the FBI wants to track me down for whatever reason, I'm just going to say that for historical purposes, for archival purposes, I saw this cut. I had to talk about it. It's interesting. I hope they release it in a way where everybody can see it because it is worth a watch.
No way. There's absolutely no way. You can wish.
I can wish. Anyway, it's interesting. I know you're not the biggest Bill Murray fan, right?
Oh, certainly not. I hate the man.
Yeah, which is fair. But I forget. Do you like Ghostbusters?
I have no reverence for Ghostbusters or nostalgia or anything, even though I did see it as a kid. But I have a feeling if I did go back and watch Ghostbusters, at least the first one, I would probably enjoy myself. Like I'm sure it's a good, fun time.
Yeah.
I think the cult of Ghostbusters is like among the most baffling and annoying that I can think of in terms of film fan bases. But yeah, I'm sure that first movie's great. Yeah. And I like Dan Aykroyd. The guy's just so weird, right?
Oh yeah, he's a weirdo. But yeah, I don't like the cult of Ghostbusters. That's why in the last few years I kind of like pulled away from being a Ghostbusters fan because the fans of it are terrible. But
Yeah.
revisiting this cut of it and thinking back to the original cut, I think it's still like a good movie. It's not maybe, a masterpiece that should be considered one of the best of all time.
Citizen Kane.
But I think it's still a great, comedy sci-fi movie, paranormal movie, I should say. It still works. But anyway, that's Ghostbusters.
Where do you this is another one that I feel like is like 80s action movie that people have tons of nostalgia for. Maybe action's the wrong word. I'm not sure. But where do you place it against Back to the Future?
Oh, I think that's a good question. I think Back to the Future is better. I think Back to the Future deserves to be called that.
I agree.
Like masterpiece, like a sort of genre-defining movie. Although Ghostbusters is almost there. I don't know.
Yeah.
It to me, like removed from it being a franchise, because at that point Zemeckis was like, "Oh no, it's just a one and done deal. It's just a movie. It's not going to be a series." And that ending at the end of Back to the Future 1, that was a joke. Like, they were never going to make a sequel. But then the studio was like, make a sequel. You made a lot of money. And Zemeckis was like, fine, I'll make 2 more. But Ghostbusters, on the other hand, it does feel like a franchise. It feels like they're, from the start, going to make, an IP that was going to be like, it's going to be on kids' toy boxes. It's going to be like, it's going to be a huge hit. We're going to make 10 sequels. It had that energy going.
What's a better comparison then? Like maybe Goonies or...
well, I hate Goonies. You can't talk to me about Goonies.
I mean, Goonies sucks, yes. But Gremlins, maybe.
Because to me, I guess to wrap up that point, Back to the Future 1 just feels like an actual, legit movie. Like, that's sort of separated from... Although everything's commercial. It's like separated from that commercial standpoint of like, oh, this is a blockbuster first and then something else. To me, it feels like a movie first. Back to the Future. Anyway.
Great. Well put. Very well put.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see the artistry behind Back to the Future and appreciate it like very much.
Although, yeah, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of artistry in Ghostbusters. Like the effects are pretty damn cool.
The Marshmallow Man.
The Marshmallow Man's great. Nobody steps nobody steps on a church in my town. That's a great line. There's some artistry behind that, but yeah, again,
the blowjob scene, of course.
The blowjob scene, of course. Those 2 things, and then the Twinkie third, and then Onion Head fourth. See, iconic stuff. But like I said, I mean, it was always going to be what's that word where you see something on screen and it's going to be a toy. Like it has that feel, a toyetic or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. And it's also got, like, I already said it, but like I love Dan Aykroyd's insane fucking conspiracy brain. Like whenever he can get that into something, like I dig it. Like I like that he really thinks that. Like he really thought of like, ghosts are real. I'm going to make something out of that.
Yeah. And
like how we can like maybe capture ghosts and suck their juices out of them. They can suck me off.
That was his pitch to Sony Pictures. It's like, all right, guys, I got this IP. First and foremost, a ghost's going to suck me off on screen. Second, going to get the best comedy brains of the 80s here to be in this movie. Okay, that's Ghostbusters. Let's wrap that up. Speaking of the paranormal and spooky things, vampires. So, we had homework to do.
We did.
From last time. Unfortunately, I like to say I'm sorry. Because I'm the one who forced this on us. I don't remember what the other options were, because last episode, at the end of it, we were like, okay, what are we going to do in this episode? What are we going to do next week? The Last Voyage of Demeter was coming out. I'm like, okay, vampire movie.
Vampire.
Dracula, whatever, about sucky.
Famous vampire, sucky.
What are we going to do for this episode to celebrate specifically blockbuster vampire movies? I forced us to do Van Helsing.
And initially, I was on board for this idea because Van Helsing's something I had never seen before.
Me neither.
And like it feels like a weird blind spot for me. I existed at a time when the movie came out at a time where it would have made a lot of sense for me to see. I know we had the DVD around. I know everybody had the DVD around. It was a pretty popular movie.
Yeah.
But I never saw it for whatever reason. So I was like, okay, check one off my bucket list. Got about 99 more of those and then I can die.
Now, before we get more into it, I just want to give off some, just want to rattle down some facts on Van Helsing. Directed by Stephen Sommers of The Mummy fame. And also The Mummy Returns and G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. Starring Hugh Jackman and Kate Beckinsale. Released May 7th, 2004. Runtime, 2 hours and 11 minutes. About 30 minutes too long. This movie sucks. This is not good movies.
If I had one word to describe this movie, it would be egregious.
I was hoping. Honestly, I did see like some people on Twitter or whatever, maybe outside of Twitter. I've heard at least one person say Van Helsing underappreciated.
I said this last week. Where I said, I bet that's because of nostalgia. I don't think this movie's going to be actually good. And I was right, because this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks. Like, this isn't... is it unwatchable? It borderline. There's not much interesting about this movie. It's very boring. The effects are laughably bad, but not even like they're stupid. Like, I don't know why the movie looks like this. There's some okay like exterior shots of the castle and stuff, but like everything is fucking CG, and I could not figure out why. Nothing's likable about it. Hugh Jackman sucks. Kate Beckinsale's boring. This is the worst Dracula I have ever seen in a movie. Can you think of a worse Dracula that you've ever seen?
That I've ever seen?
A worse portrayal of Dracula.
Oh.
This guy has no charisma. He has nothing. I don't even know the actor who it is.
I can pull up the actor.
No design. He's just like a guy wearing clothes. Richard Roxburgh.
Richard Roxburgh. He's the bad guy in Mission Impossible 2. Your favorite Mission Impossible.
Oh, fuck, he is. Oh, that's sick. Oh, God, I love this guy.
you changed your tune there.
This man nearly stabbed Tom Cruise in the eyeball.
Wait, hold on. 1 second. Wait a second. Isn't Richard Roxburgh the guy who was almost Wolverine?
Oh, is that true?
Let me look this up, because that would make this movie...
That would be a fascinating crossover.
Yeah. I mean, Hugh Jackman versus...
And they're real mortal enemies at that point.
This...
On screen and off.
This has, risen the movie up for me now, like 4 more stars. Now it's a 5-star movie.
I think I gave it 2 on Letterboxd. It was so hard to pay attention to this. Like, I wanted to look away. I've been talking a lot here. Like, do you have any other general thoughts?
I mean, I mostly agree with you. I was almost convinced this was entertaining at the start.
Sure.
I will say
that fight with like the kind of goblin guy or whatever, where he like hooks him with the
goblin guy. That was
Quasimodo.
No, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That was Hyde.
Dr. Jekyll. Yeah, that was Hyde. Yeah, where he shoots the grappling hook through him and then comes to the ground and pulls him down. Like, that was all right. That's kind of fun.
Oh, by the way, I was wrong. It was Dougray Scott who was almost Wolverine.
But the
and also I was wrong again.
The design is so bad. Like, it's like they didn't even have like a drawing or anything in mind. They were just like generic creature. Whatever.
Sorry, I want to correct myself. So, Richard Roxburgh played the second bad guy in Mission Impossible. The henchman to the main bad guy. It's the main bad guy in Mission Impossible who was almost Wolverine. So,
interesting.
Just want to set the record straight. Okay, back to this movie. It's that creature design. It's just so bad. And we watched Spawn not too long ago, right? Those effects I can forgive more, I think, because like it was still in that late 90s sort of
cool.
aesthetic.
Honestly, they look cool to me.
Yeah,
I think Spawn looks fucking cool.
But in this movie, it's just shot so poorly, and the effects are trying to look good, but they're obviously not good, and it looks weird. Like Van Helsing.
If there was any artistry behind the effects, like maybe it could save them, but like they're not trying to do anything interesting with the effects.
Like maybe the worst effect in this movie is Frankenstein and his design, the Frankenstein's monster. Excuse me. Yeah. Like that shit sucks. Like it there's no artistry behind that. It's just a blob of a man.
Yeah. Like
with green goo coming out of him, and that's it. It's poorly designed CG characters. Yeah,
was this based on a comic book or anything?
I don't know. That's a good question. It was written by Stephen Sommers, written and directed. I think he's the sole writer. And it says here, based on Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman, 3 separate properties. So I do believe this is an original, in quotes, idea from Stephen Sommers.
This is the first attempt at the Dark Universe.
Is it? Oh, they've made a few Dark Universe, in quotes, movies before. But no, you're right, though. It's the first Dark Universe movie where all these monsters are in one movie. In the modern times, right? In modern times. Because I can't think of one in like the 90s that has like Frankenstein's there, then, Wolfman, and then also Dracula. Yeah, they're really going for something here. They really wanted just to put all their chips in and go, okay, this is it. This is the IP. They'll bring all the Universal monsters together. It's going to be great. Let's give it to Stephen Sommers. He knows how to make these kinds of movies, these action summer blockbusters. The Mummy's good. Done it. Why wasn't the Mummy in here? Isn't that a Universal monster movie?
Good question. Yes, the Mummy is one of them.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. This is just a bad. This was just a bad choice, a bad decision on my part. All right, I'm sorry. This is a mea culpa, and also I don't want to go long on this because I also didn't realize that our sister show, Cinema to the Letter, also did a full episode on Van Helsing not too long ago.
That was my joke earlier when I said egregious.
Egregious?
It was on their egregious episode of Cinema to the Letter.
Well, I'm sorry I missed it. So, Tommy, if you're listening, sorry to ride on your coattails, okay? I just blanked, and I didn't realize a Van Helsing episode is also on the network. This is not going to be titled Van Helsing, by the way, okay? It's going to be titled something else. This episode. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we want to talk about in regards to the shitty movie Van Helsing?
Are those Underworld movies any good?
No, I don't like those movies.
I was gonna say at least Kate Beckinsale had something else, but she did. I mean, it was a franchise, so
I'll say the first scene with Kate Beckinsale, I was like, oh, Kate Beckinsale.
Oh, Mamma Mia.
Hey, it's a spicy meatball. But no, I think she can be good. I think she's the capability of being good. I think in some scenes she's interesting and it's a cool character. But for the most part, no. It is overall very dull what they do with her character, especially at the end. That is again, I don't want to run too long with this movie. The end is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in a movie. I'm just gonna spoil it. Who cares? So she dies. Kate Beckinsale dies for no reason, really. So Van Helsing, Hugh Jackman, burns her body on a cliff, looking out to the ocean.
Yeah.
As he burns her, he turns around, looks up at the sky, and there she is. Her big, beautiful face is up in the clouds. I think she winks at him. Then he nods, puts his hat back on. Roll credits. It's so fucking dumb.
I don't know how you could write that and then actually follow through with it. How many people had to sign off on that and say, "Yeah, good idea, bud"?
Yeah, good idea. Good. Yeah, let's put Kate Beckinsale's.
And speaking of bad effects, like her in the clouds, like it's barely noticeable. Like,
yeah,
they really focus on those clouds for a long time, and I was trying to make out images, and I was like, okay, is there something there? Until all of a sudden, her face does just kind of appear overlaid over the clouds. It doesn't even like she's made out of the clouds.
Yeah, and like there's some stuff happening. There's like some action going on with her and somebody else. Maybe because like she says that line earlier, because her again. I'm trying to move past this movie, but there's that scene when she talks about her brother, then her brother, the Wolfman, dies, and then she goes, "Oh, I'm going to see him in another life," or whatever. I think that's supposed to happen in the clouds. I think there's like her and her brother are reunited in the clouds, but I have the same problem you had, Siobhan. I didn't know what was going on. It's like, what is that? What's going on? I tried to, and I have a good TV. I was near. It's an Apple TV. It's a 4K. Clarity is amazing, but I have no fucking idea what was happening until like her face just appeared, you know, and then because I was looking at clouds for like a minute straight, it seems like, with like some shit going on, and then her big face.
I know they're there for so long. Horrible, just horrible.
Bad,
really bad movie.
So sorry,
I can't find anything redeeming in it.
No, I'll still give it like 2 stars.
I did give it 2. I don't know why I gave it 2.
I after having this conversation, you've opened my eyes. I think I'm going to drop it down to like 1.5. Because
I think I might as well.
I put it on as I was working, and sometimes when I do that, a movie does catch my attention, and rarely has a movie just been background noise for me as this. Like this was just nothing in the background for me for like 2 hours straight. 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's too long, too. Okay. Anyway, Van Helsing, bad movie. It is, in fact, egregious. What else did we see? I mean, Siobhan, you messaged me. You said, let's watch another movie. Let's watch another vampire movie.
I came up with the idea of, since you were nervous about the Tommy thing, how he had already covered Van Helsing, I was just like, okay, let's do Van Helsing still, because I had already watched it.
Yeah.
And so, but I came up and I said, hey, how about we just both watch on our own, just pick a random vampire movie, don't tell us what, and we'll talk about it randomly on this show. Like independent of each other, pick a vampire movie without telling the other person. Yeah. So, Marcelo, you picked a vampire movie, I assume?
Yeah. It's not but hold on. Just to be clear, you also did this, right? You sought out a vampire movie, right?
Sorry, I think I'm going through a tunnel. You're breaking up. What'd you ask me there?
So, I just want to make it clear, because I did see a vampire movie this week. I didn't necessarily pick it. I'll get into that in a second, but I did watch another vampire movie this week.
Okay.
Now, my question to you is, Siobhan, did you also see another vampire movie?
Yeah, still not catching this one.
Oh, God. I know what's going on here. So you didn't end up seeing another vampire movie, is what I'm hearing.
No, I couldn't find the time to fit it in.
Okay, the idea that you gave to me, that you suggested, that you said, hey, Marcelo, let's watch another vampire movie. And I go, all right, friend, let's do this. You did not doing that. You did not take the time to watch another vampire movie. Okay.
I didn't. I was going to watch the Buffy movie. But I didn't.
In honor of another death we haven't talked about, Pee Wee Herman. Rest in peace.
Yeah, that's why I was going to, but I didn't end up getting to it.
Yeah.
I did watch Pee Wee's, the Netflix one. I can't remember what it's called. Big Top? No, it's not Big Top. Anyway, I watched
Big Top Pee Wee. No, that's the sequel.
That's the sequel.
Pee Wee's Big Holiday. That's the one.
Yeah, Pee Wee's Big Holiday. I did rewatch that, and that was a great time. Really
rest in peace, Paul Rubens, by the way.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I guess I'll talk about 2 movies now. Siobhan, take a back seat, because I did see 2 movies.
Rest my head back for a bit.
Yeah, just take a nap here. I did see Voyage of Demeter. I'll talk about that in a second. But this past week, I didn't know what I was going to see, but I knew I had time to watch a movie. I was thinking of seeing 30 Days of Night. I've never seen it. I've always wanted to see it, but it wasn't on a streaming service that I had, so that's not a question. So I just dragged my ass to the theater to watch a movie. It was a secret movie that the Alamo Drafthouse was playing. Remember I said there weren't any special screenings, or there weren't a lot of special screenings in Austin. Apparently there are, because I went to one this past week. I saw, speaking of alternate versions too, I saw Ganga and Hess, but I saw an alternate version of Ganga and Hess. Now, Ganga and Hess, do you know anything about Ganga and Hess? Siobhan, Ganga and Hess.
I have no clue.
Okay. So I was also unaware of this until maybe...
Ganja. Okay, I know what this is about.
So Ganga and Hess. I first heard about this movie maybe like 2-3 years ago. It just celebrated its 50th anniversary this past year. Starring Dwayne Jones, who also starred in Night of the Living Dead. It stars an all-black cast. It's directed by a black filmmaker, Bill Gunn. So Ganga and Hess premiered at the Cannes Film Festival in a 113-minute cut, the original cut of the movie. So that was a hit at the Cannes Film Festival, and so then it came to the U.S. And it bombed. This movie. So the producers were like, okay, we paid this director to make a movie, and he gave us like a weird experimental movie about like bloodsuckers, and it's confusing and it's very experimental. We don't like this. Let's make it into a normal movie. So they gave it to another film director to recut it as Double Possession. So that's what I saw. I saw Double Possession, the alternate version of Ganga and Hess. I've never seen Ganga and Hess, the original version. So this is the first time I've ever watched Ganga and Hess, is in this alternate cut. And still, watching this alternate cut, I say Ganga and Hess is great. It's amazing. It's legit. It's so atmospheric. It's so like what I want in like this like pre-80s like horror movie style. Very low budget, and it just feels creepy as hell. And I should have said this at the beginning. I'm not into vampire movies. I have sort of like a blood phobia, where I can't stand.
Wow, really?
But it's very specific. I don't like seeing people drink blood, like straight from other people. I don't know what that is, but that just creeps me out. I don't like it. I can have blood drawn. Like, I can see blood and think, okay, that's blood, that's fine. But the specific act of drinking blood from human to human, I don't like that. And there's a lot of that in Ganga and Hess. And also, Voyage of Demeter, which I'll get to here in a bit. So I did not have a great week in that regard of my little blood phobia. But Ganga and Hess, or Double Possession, as it's called too, fantastic. Seek it out. I'm going to go watch the original cut of Ganga and Hess, because apparently this cut that I saw, Double Possession, they cut out 40 minutes from the movie and then added 20 minutes. So it falls around like, I think 85 minutes, this version. A lot shorter. Apparently it's like structured different. But I guess the original Ganga and Hess, like I said, apparently more experimental. I can feel that this movie, when it came out, people were like, oh, we've never seen this before. Like, we've never seen this type of movie before. And even nowadays, I'm like, yeah, this type of movie is what I want to see in, like, horror movies. So, yeah, Ganga and Hess is great. I don't think this version of Ganga and Hess is available, like, readily, really. I think it was on VHS. Maybe it's on YouTube, this Double Possession cut. But that's what I saw this week. To my surprise, I go, oh, it's a vampire movie. I don't have to see another vampire movie because I just saw this. So that was my other vampire movie.
Perhaps it's on the Criterion as like a bonus.
Perhaps. I'm not sure. If they do eventually release Ganga Hess, like on Criterion, because I think there's a Blu-ray. But
it is a Criterion, right?
I think it was on the Criterion channel.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, but I don't think it's on there anymore. Ganga Hess. But if they ever do like a deluxe 4K edition, they should get this cut on there because apparently it's a lot different. But anyway, Double Possession, aka Ganga Hess. That's what I saw. I recommend it. And Spike Lee apparently remade this movie in 2014, and that was called The Sweet Blood of Jesus, which I hear is pretty good.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. But yeah, and like I said, it's creepy. The main plot is this anthropologist finds this like bone spur or something, like I guess a bone carved out into a knife, and he gets stabbed by it. It becomes like this vampire who. It's a vampire-like creature. He just walk around in the daylight and just act like normal, but he has to drink blood to survive. And that's the character of Hess. And then Ganja is a woman who is the wife of somebody who he ends up devouring. So they end up having a relationship by the end of the movie. Very good. Again, I'll say, watch Ganja and Hess. I certainly will be. That's that. I did my homework, Siobhan, so take that. Now
And you brought an interesting one to the table, so
I did.
You did it for both of us.
Yeah. So, the voyage of Demeter, or should I say the last voyage of the Demeter? I saw that.
Well, you tell me, was it the last voyage of the Demeter? Did the Demeter live on?
I can confirm it was the last voyage of the Demeter.
Oh, no. That's so sad.
I saw this at a press screening last night, and I'm rushing here to the mic to give you a review, Siobhan and the listeners. I saw it. Ask me anything you want about the movie, Siobhan. Ask me anything about the last voyage of the Demeter.
Does the Dracula look as stupid as he does in the trailers?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'll say first thing, it is a good movie. I liked it more than I thought it would. Maybe it's because I had very low expectations coming in. Also, the runtime is a straight 2 hours. So I'm like, okay, maybe
solid.
Solid. Actually, it's a 119. So little like a 1 minute below a solid 2 hours. A little worried. I'm like, okay, a vampire movie and a boat. I wonder if it'll keep my attention for 2 hours. It did. I thought it was a little slow at the beginning, but I think the entire movie is purposefully paced where it's not like constant, action, vampire, blood-sucking. There is some tension. It is slow building, but it picks up. I was totally invested in the characters. It's based on one chapter in Dracula, okay, in Bram Stoker's Dracula, the captain's log in that book, and yeah, it tells a story about this crew going from where are they going from? I guess Transylvania to London. Yeah, so they're transporting Dracula's coffin, unbeknownst to them, from Transylvania to London, and then of course in that trip. Dracula wakes up and starts eating the crew. That's the plot. But I was invested. I was invested in the characters. I was invested in Dracula himself. I mean, the character design is weird and dumb sometimes, but effective at other points. Sometimes they use practical effects, which is great.
Okay.
I think that some of the effects in regards to the deaths, very, 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 very good. I was impressed by how gruesome some of this movie is.
What's the tone? Is it more horror, or is it kind of actiony, or
it's more horror. I can compare it to like Alien 3. Where I can tell Siobhan is not impressed. I have
not seen it. So I don't know.
Maybe we should watch Alien 3 then. Maybe we should
probably.
We'll do that for next week.
I'm missing the 2 Alien movies. I haven't seen that or Resurrection.
But yeah, it's about like this crew of misfits trying to survive against a monster, and yeah, it to me, yeah, very similar to like an Alien 3 or just a monster. It's a monster movie, but also does take its time getting to the kills, and in that time, I think the character development is there, and I'm fully invested. I buy it. I think it's well worth seeing, and I don't think it's boring. That's the one word I want to avoid. It's not boring. I've heard that criticism already. So I'm rolling my eyes at that. I don't think it's a boring movie. I just think it's slow in a methodical way and deliberate. It's deliberately slow, but that's the tone. It's very atmospheric in that way. But yeah, it is a little goofy. The ending is certainly goofy. But I think overall it works. I recommend it. Go watch it because I want...
Is Dracula always feral, or do we see man Dracula?
You might see a man Dracula.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it, but you might. I mean, do you remember him having a cane?
I do, kind of.
We might see that cane in the Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Oh, the iconic cane.
The iconic cane. And we might see, dare I say, a top hat?
Abraham Lincoln's top hats.
But that's the Last Voyage of Demeter. I'm glad everybody waited an hour for that review. For me talking about it for 5 minutes. But it's good. Corey Hawkins, good. Do you know who's good in this? Who we should always be talking about?
For sure.
David Dastmalchian. I can't pronounce his name, but you know who. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yes, yeah, Dot Man, right? Or Spot guy.
Polka Dot Man.
Polka Dot Man.
And he's in Dune, and he's in, of course, The Dark Knight. He's in Blade Runner 2049. He's in a bunch of great movies.
He's a charming guy. He came on Last Drive-In once, and they had him holding a snake, I think, and he was very uncomfortable the entire time.
But he's one of those great character actors, and he was like, when he first appeared in the movie, I'm like, wait, who's that? And that looks familiar. And I go, oh, it's that guy. So he's graduated to being complete that guy status, like a Shea Wiggum, like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else you want me to answer? I'm here to answer all your Last Voyage of Demeter questions, Siobhan. I got time for one more question.
One more question. I'm looking through this cast list here. Oh, the director, Andre Orvidal.
Oh, he's done some good work.
Has he? Troll Hunter. Okay, Autopsy of Jane Doe. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. All movies I've heard good things about. Well, sounds like this one's an one to watch when you get home. When it gets home, you don't have to go.
This one's a one to watch. It's a Universal picture, so I'm sure it'll be on Peacock soon enough. What's going to be my rubric here? Help me out, Siobhan. Like, do I just say it gets my?
You did used to have the stamp of approval. We've done that before.
Have we done the seal of approval?
Yeah, we had the. We've had that for our shows. I think like we had the Have a Nice Apocalypse seal of approval as a joke.
Okay, so now here's the Talk Film Society.
No, we had our individual. No, that's what it was. We had our individual seals of approval. You had the Marcella seal of approval and the me seal of approval, and if you got both, then that was Have a Nice Apocalypse seal of approval.
So the Last Voyage of the Demeter gets a Marcelo seal of approval. Go see it.
That's great.
Honestly, I had a good time seeing it in the theater. So why can't you, huh? And I don't want to hear anybody coming back at me personally saying, Marcelo, you were wrong. I don't care. I liked it. I hope you like it. Do you know who else liked it? Stephen King. Do you know who else liked it? Guillermo del Toro. Go at them. Don't go at me.
Oh yeah. I know more about horror than Stephen King and Guillermo del Toro. Come on. Who do you think?
Go to hell.
Go to hell. I think that's where we should leave off, unless you got a game for us.
Oh shit! I did have one game. Okay, I gotta go to the movie theater here in a few minutes. Box office game.
The Meg 2 made $140 million.
Okay, box office game. Siobhan. So I looked up genre keyword vampire. So the top 10 grossing vampire movies domestically.
Van Helsing is in there.
Van Helsing, number 9. You got it.
Number 9. All right.
Can you guess the number 1? Guess the number 1 at least.
Number 1. The number 1 vampire film.
Domestic.
Blade?
No, Blade is number 14. Keep guessing. Come on, hurry up.
Okay. What are vampire movies? Bram Stoker's Dracula.
11. That's 11.
11. Son of a bitch. Fucking vampire movies. 30 Days of Night, definitely not.
That was 21. Keep going.
Come on, vampire movies. I can think of them.
Okay, you want a hint?
I guess.
In the top 10, there are 5 vampire movies from the same franchise.
The Dracula Untold.
No. You get 2 more
from
guesses.
The same franchise?
Yeah.
A franchise of vampire... Oh, Underworld.
Nope.
What? What fucking franchise is vampires and has 5 movies in it?
You're going to be upset when I tell you this.
Twilight.
You got it.
Twilight.
That's it.
All the Twilight movies.
So
that's it.
Number 5, Twilight. Number 4, Breaking Dawn Part 1. Number 3, Breaking Dawn Part 2. Number 2, New Moon. Number 1, Eclipse. Yeah.
Okay.
That's top 5.
I got there.
Last few minutes here before I have to take off. Siobhan, what are we doing next week? I looked it up. Blue Beetle.
What's the movie?
Blue Beetle's coming out. Beetle. And also Strays is coming out.
That's dire, man.
I know. Listen, I say we don't have to commit to anything now. Let's just say that's
sure. We'll figure that out later.
We'll figure it out. That's next week, though. Next week is Blue Beetle and Strays. We'll come up with a movie that'll tie into one of those, and we'll talk.
For the record, I think Blue Beetle will be good, but
you know what? I'm going to see it in spite of you. How about that? And I'll report back.
In spite of me, I think it'll be good. I think Blue Beetle will be a fun time for you at the movie theater.
Well, let's see if it gets Marcelo's seal of approval.
We'll see. Okay. What if that's the one movie I went to this year?
You skip Barbie, Oppenheimer, you skip Mission Impossible, you skip the Last Voyage of Demeter, the one movie I said was good. Indiana Jones. Nope, you're gonna go see Blue Beetle. Let's go see this fucking Iron Man ripoff. Now he's blue. All right, that's the show. Siobhan, plugs?
No.
Okay. TalkFilmSociety.com. Go listen to all the other shows on the network. Talk Film Society on Blue Sky. I barely use that. How about Twitter or X or Instagram? I don't know. Follow us. I'll get better at the social media after I find a job. That's what I'm trying to do for the next 2 months is find a job. Anyway, long live the unions. Now it's time for our signature catchphrase. Here we go. Hey! See you at the movies. Nope, never say that. All right, bye.